What's up, friends? Welcome to the Web Dev Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Langsdorf, and today we are going to be digging into a new release from the Angular team. We are going to be learning about Angular Signal Forms. Now, this is something that I've heard a lot of people asking about. I saw when the Angular team opened up for questions, what do you want to see? This was one of the top requested features. And so to help us dive into this, get our heads around it, and learn what it does, I've brought in one of the Angular core team members, a good friend, and a brilliant engineer, Alex Rickabaugh. Alex, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
I'm excited. I mean, you and I have had a few short opportunities to hang out, and it's always been a pleasure. But I don't think I've ever actually asked you for your bio. So for me and for folks who maybe aren't familiar with you and your work, do you want to give us the high level of who you are, what you do?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a software engineer at Google, and for about 10 years now, since 2015, I've been working on Angular. I kind of started there as really, I would call myself a junior developer back then, and worked on a bunch of different projects, ended up working a lot in the Angular, before kind of transitioning to become the technical lead now for the Angular core framework. So compiler, runtime, forms, router, etc.
Yeah. And so you've been doing this for how long now?
Working on Angular about 10 years, at Google 15 now.
Nice.
It seems like crazy amount of time.
I know the time flies. Somebody asked me yesterday, how long have you been an engineer? And I was like, oh God, it's been over 20 years now. Oh no.
Yeah, when you start thinking of it as not just a job, but a career, like looking back at a career, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it is definitely wild. So you are now you said the technical lead on Angular?
On the Angular core framework. So Angular is divided,
framework.
into, we have framework, we have components, we have tooling, which is like CLI, we have developer infrastructure, and so forth. So I lead the framework team, and then we have Jeremy Elborn, who's over kind of we call him the Uber tech lead. He's the tech lead for Angular as a whole.
Got it. Wonderful. Yeah. So I am very excited to learn about this because you just had a big release. You just launched V21. And I saw, as some of the lead up to this, I saw questions from folks like Mark Texan, who's here in the chat right now. I saw the official Angular account asking, and some of the questions that were being asked were like, what do you want to see? Like, what features do you want going out to the dev community? And one of the loudest answers that I saw, and most common answers, was Angular Signal Forms. So I've talked to a couple folks on the team, Jessica Janik, I've talked to Mark, and we've covered signals. We've gone over Angular in different places. If you want to see that, you can go back to previous episodes of Learn with Jason on Code TV and find a whole bunch of content about Angular. But we've never really dug into forms, and I don't actually know what is meant by a signal form. So maybe just to get us out of the gate, what's in Angular?
So I think the way I've started to think about form system in general is it's kind of an interaction pattern that you're offering the user. Users have a lot of expectations on when they see inputs on a screen, how those are going to behave as they start typing in them, when they're going to get errors, what it's going to do if one of the inputs is disabled. And so in that sense, the forms system in Angular is really a way of creating the state to drive a form. And state, of course, is the domain of signals, right? That's why we added signals to Angular, is to better track and update the UI in response to state changes. So you can think of the signal form system as a wrapper around your data, the data you actually want the user to edit, that creates all of the form state and keeps it updated as things validate and so forth.
Got it.
And we actually kind of knew, even before when we were making the decision to do signals in Angular, we were looking at kind of replacing Zone.js with something, and signals was one option on the table. There were a few others. But forms was actually one of the main drivers of that decision. So we even knew back then that we wanted to do a signal form system if we created a signal reactivity system in the framework.
Great. And as maybe just a quick recap, a signal is a concept that we've been seeing pop up. I think it was, what was it? Knockout was the first one to really, was that right? That kind of
Knockout was the first
popularized
to
it.
popularize it in JS. Yeah.
And then we saw, different types of signals, things like, was it NGRX was one of the things that we saw that had signals in it, right? And then we like solid JS has really made signals come back into the mainstream thought. We've seen signals get introduced into just about every popular framework now. And I might be getting a couple things a little bit out of order there in my my thinking, but
you're thinking of RxJS, which is the like observable library, which is kind of a different way of managing state. But even that has this thing called behavior subject, which is actually kind of a signal in disguise.
Yeah. Okay. And so the idea of a signal, I'm going to let you take this because I feel like I'm going to put my foot in my mouth if I try to high level this.
No worries. So a signal is kind of a way to box up a value. So if you think about a variable in the language, right, it's a container, you can put a value, whether it's a Boolean or some complex object, and you can read it from a function and get the current value of that variable. A signal kind of behaves the same way. It's a box that you can put a value in. You can open that box and look inside and read it. What makes a signal special is the place where you read it, the kind of function you're reading it from, or the template, if you're inside of the UI, is able to understand that you've read that signal from that context. And so in addition to getting the value, you get this extra piece of information that you now depend on that value. And that's very useful for a UI, because if you have a text binding somewhere where you say, I want the value of this text binding to, match what's in this signal, then the framework can understand, oh, there's a dependency between these things. And when the signal updates, I need to go and resolve the UI and get it back in sync with what that value is.
And so practically what that ends up meaning is if I have a value that's stored, like say a number, and elsewhere on the page in the UI, I have things that are derived from that number. Like I say, I want 1 ticket, and then there's a price, and I can say, 1 ticket, 2 ticket, 3 ticket. If I update the number of tickets that I want, I can then derive a new subtotal based on how many tickets and times the current price. And I don't have to do something like, because historically what you would end up doing is you would have like a value up here, and then every component would need that value passed in as a prop. And then every time you change a value, you have to re-render the entire component, every component in the tree, even if it doesn't actually use that value and it's just passing it through, which, there's a lot of arguments for that's super clear. It's really easy to track where things go, but it also has a lot of waste where you're re-rendering a lot of things. And that can cause a ton of complexity when you've got a lot of components that depend on different things, and you don't necessarily want to blow away all the state of this component just because it passes a value through. So signals allow you to basically, you get to shortcut it. The signals only cause things to update where they are actually used without necessarily requiring a full re-render. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Memoization is a kind of a key part of how signals work. So what you're describing of having a quantity and a price, and then like being able to compute the cost from that, we call computed signals, where you say that this, there's a concept called cost, which is created by just writing a function, right? Like quantity times price. But because signals track dependencies, we now know that, when either quantity or price updates, the cost has to, throw away the stale value and recompute. And anything that doesn't depend on quantity or price doesn't have to recompute, doesn't have to re-render.
Right.
So you can think about signals as kind of optimizing the diffing when things change based on specific data, rather than kind of running the render functions and then diffing the virtual DOM of the output.
Yeah, and I think that what really starts to make this shine as a concept is when you start thinking about the fact that, like, even in this ticket scenario, you've got multiple different tickets, you've got multiple different quantities, you've got, whether or not they're still in stock, you've got things like maybe timers on how long we'll hold the tickets for you. Each of those things is an independent piece of state that needs to affect the things around it. And if you don't have something like signals, you are either manually managing all of this stuff, which is definitely doable. I mean, we've done it in the past and we could do it today, but it ends up being an extremely like finicky process. You have to know where all these things are connected. You have to manually update it every time it changes. Or you end up in kind of the classic prop style where you have to re-render the entire page anytime any piece of data is changed to make sure you're deriving the correct state from this top level. You're deriving the correct UI from this top level state. So signals are a great way, and we've seen them in action elsewhere on the show to show that you can short circuit that part. You don't have to re-render everything, and it helps us avoid a lot of like use effect in React, which React has also done some work to improve this. But I think use effect is the classic example of like how much this hurts when you're re-rendering everything every time a value changes. Right?
Yeah.
So I guess in forms specifically, though, I feel like it's interesting to me that like there were signals, right? And then as a completely separate feature, signal forms. And so I guess what is it about forms that made them not just like any other part of the UI where you could just say, okay, well, we have signals in Angular, let's just use them now?
Yeah. So I guess there are two things. One is, Angular has an existing form system, and depending on your perspective, it has two existing form systems, and present kind of two different ways of structuring the state and values of a form. We have both template driven, where you're kind of pushing a lot of the logic, putting the business logic actually inside the template, and that has pros and cons. And then there were these things called reactive forms, which was kind of using more RxJS model-driven forms. Reactive in the sense of observables, not necessarily signals. But neither of these things plug and play very well with signals, because they were designed obviously before Angular had signals as an option. So either way, we knew we needed to kind of upgrade the form system and allow you to bring signals into the mix. And there've been, these systems are like 8 years old at this point. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in HTML that's gotten better in forms. There's a lot of kind of known design limitations where like we're just not really thinking that way anymore for how we build that and evaluate applications. And so, and plus there's a huge debate in the Angular community of like, should you use reactive forms or template driven forms? And so we wanted to kind of resolve that once and for all by bringing the best of both worlds into a new form system that everyone can use that depends on signals. That's powered by signals.
So one question that isn't intended to be a gotcha, but is like the hard question to ask. If you've got these previous two ways of approaching forms, and you've introduced a third, does that mean that you're phasing out the other ways, or is it kind of further broadening how somebody could approach forms in Angular?
Oh, we're very open about the fact that we would like to replace the existing systems eventually.
Okay, so it's not like an active deprecation, but you're going to move all suggestions that way.
Yes, yeah. This is intended to eventually become the one true form solution.
Can I ask a maintainer question?
Yeah.
You're trying to you see something that you see as being a clearly better solution than what has been done in the past. But Angular is used by tens of thousands, if not more, developers across the world, all of whom are, at varying levels of, legacy systems or brand new systems. Some of them are willing to upgrade the whole thing today because V21 just came out, and some of them are still on, I don't know, V2 because that's what they shipped back when it first came out, right? How do you approach behavioral change when you've got such a massive and varied user base?
It's a challenge, and I think actually that's one of Angular's differentiating factors as a framework out there. We spend a lot of time thinking about kind of how we can introduce these new things, like bring you signals, bring you signal forms, bring you new animations package, for example, and still maintain that backwards compatibility and not leave kind of existing code bases that are on, v15, v14, et cetera, like stranded. So Signal Forms is new, but it also has a lot of thought put into it on how that upgrade path would work if someone did want to kind of migrate from one system to the other. So there's a whole interop layer for it where you can kind of take your existing form and start migrating it to Signal Forms one piece at a time. So we think about compatibility in that way. Then we have our migration tooling in the CLI, where as much as possible, we give you kind of just run a command to update from one thing to another. For example, Angular used to have this concept called ng modules that was central to how you structured component templates. It was built for reasons at a time when the world kind of looked like it was going in a certain direction. And we introduced standalone components, which is kind of a much more streamlined version of how you write template dependencies. There's an upgrade command you run that can take your entire application and convert it from ng modules to standalone. And it will get most of it right. And where it can't figure things out, it will leave comments for you like, hey, you'll have to fix this piece. We still have not deprecated ng modules because we know there are applications out there that are still kind of built this way and still using it and haven't had the chance to upgrade over. So that's kind of the third piece is we do put a lot of effort into maintaining the kind of older ways of doing things as long as there are customers that are still getting value from it.
And is that something that do you see a world where, maybe in V25, you start putting in notices that are like, hey, you're doing it the old way and you should maybe consider this new way? Or do you just kind of say like, you know what, if somebody wants to do it, we'll let them do it for as long as they want?
We more the latter. We tend to be more customer driven when it comes to what to deprecate, where we're really looking at our community to tell us like, when are you done with this thing, right? When do you want to move on and start discouraging people from actually using this path?
How do you determine that? Like, do you get anonymous reporting that says when people use features or anything like that?
Yeah, we have some of those channels where we can look at HTTP archive and look at Angular applications that are deployed and see what features they're using. We have our developer survey that we run every year where we're actually just asking our community, hey, what's important to you? And we can ask those kinds of questions there. Got it.
Very cool. So for somebody who is looking to use these today, it sounds like it's I know that there's probably documentation on how to get started. It's still experimental.
Yes.
And so what are the caveats around it being experimental? Are there any things that people should keep in mind as they start adopting this?
Yeah. So we have two categorizations of APIs that are of the like beta category, experimental and developer preview. Experimental thing and they kind of have the same caveat with regards to these are APIs that could change from release to release, right? Normally, Angular says if we release an API as stable, we give you if we are going to make a breaking change to it, we give you two major versions to migrate before we, for example, from the time we deprecate something to the time we remove it. Or we have some kind of auto migration for you that will make sure that as you update the code, it kind of follows along. That is not true for experimental and developer preview APIs. We're explicitly kind of carving out, hey, we're still working on this. We can change it. Kind of go to production at your own risk. If you want to use this API in production, it might work for you, but be aware that you might pay some extra cost if we do decide to make behavioral changes.
Yeah, when you upgrade to the next version, you might have to make some tweaks to the code to keep up with whatever you've been. And I guess that's like a great way to signal too that this is new and you don't necessarily want to commit to an API if once it gets out into the world you realize, no, we missed this one thing. And if you're stuck supporting it forever, then it's really, really hard to like correct those sorts of things. And we've seen this, I think there's stuff on the web platform that's just, you don't break backward compatibility on the web, right? So you just kind of live with it the way that it is. But it's nice when you're a framework author because you can be explicit and say, hey, we're learning. So here's our signal to you that we're still learning on this one. And we want your feedback, but also your feedback means, you may have to tweak your own code to like keep up with our evolution as we learn more about how this works.
Absolutely, right? Like no API survives first contact with developers, really. And so we used to be very conservative about releasing new features because when we rolled it out, right, the moment it became public API, we had this commitment to two major versions, which is roughly 1 year for us of stability. And we were missing out on the chance to get that kind of early feedback and involve developers in the actual design process. And so that's really what experimental is for us, is, hey, this is not fully baked yet, but we're letting you onto it early because we really value that kind of on the ground feedback about how it's working for real use cases. Then we have developer preview, which is more of like a extended release candidate. Like, we think this is feature complete. This could ship as stable, but we want to give developers one more chance to kind of bang on it and see what breaks.
Got it. Well, this is wonderful. I am really excited to see how the Angular team has just been, it just seems like y'all have been pushing hard to really modernize, to add a lot of quality of life improvements. A lot of cool things are coming out of Angular right now. And so for anybody who wants to check it out, you should head over to angular.dev. You can find Alex on Twitter at SynAlex. It's SYNALX is where you're going to find. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. For anybody who wants to see more of this, we're going to be pair programming on Learn with Jason. You can head over to codetv.dev and look for Learn with Jason to find the episode. This has been the Web Dev Podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcatcher. If you want to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, that means a lot to us here on the show. Thank you so much, Alex, for hanging out.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. We will see you all next time. Okay, now don't forget, everybody, we are still doing the pair programming show. We've just shifted things a little bit with how we do Learn with Jason, where it's now the podcast version, and then we're going to do the pair programming version. So stick around for just a second while I reset some things, and we are going to jump in to Learn with Jason. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we are going to be diving into Angular Signal Forms with the tech lead for Angular Core, Alex Rickabaugh. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I am really excited to dive into this, into Angular Signal Forms. We just talked about this on the Web Dev Podcast about what they are and why you've done them. So today I want to learn how to do them. So we're going to dive straight into a project. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about the project we're going to build today?
Yeah. So I don't know if I don't think we've talked much about this in terms of hobbies, but I grew up kind of playing Dungeons and Dragons with friends. And I thought it would be fun to make a D&D character sheet creator. I think it's a pretty good example of some of the interesting scenarios you end up in trying to design a form. And it'll showcase how you approach some of those problems with signal forms.
I love it. I am super excited to dive in. Welcome, everybody, to Learn with Jason. Let's get started. All right, we are here. I've got my code going. I'm showing the wrong screen, but we are set to go now. Okay, so you are going to be able to find Alex on Twitter if you want to check that out there. I'm going to also send over a link to the Angular Signal Forms that you can find. So let me throw both of those up on the screen for just a hot second so that you can find those. And while I'm showing these links, Alex, do you want to talk a little bit about what my first steps are going to be to get building here?
Yeah, I guess the first thing would be to start up an Angular project if you have the Angular CLI installed and updated.
Let's see if I do. I have, let's see, here's Warp. Let me jump out here to the right spot. And then it's just NG, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have
Angular
it. So...
Yep. Your AI there has it right, I think.
All right. Warp has been great for this. They, I don't use a ton of AI, but God, do I love intelligent autocomplete. Like it's such a dream of a tool. All right, so this gives us ng version. We are at 21.0.3.
Perfect.
And I'm going to create a new project by running
ng
new. And then do I need to name the project or?
Probably not async react. Yeah, we can call it like
signal forms.
Sure.
Okay. And do I want to enable auto completion? I think probably. Yeah, we're just going to let that happen.
Yeah.
Share pseudonymous data with the Angular team. You know what? Yes, you can have some data. Do you have any strong opinions about this?
Not really. I am not the person
I'm
you
use
want
CSS.
talking about CSS. We can go ahead and say no to SSR, no to routing.
Okay.
We can have a kind of a very simple homepage. We're not really going to get much into applications.
Okay. Are we going to use any of the, do you want to have any of the AI tools available or should we skip them?
Entirely up to you.
Let's skip them and we're going to learn this. We're going to learn this longhand and then people can install the agents to get help with them later on. So we are creating our project here and I'm going to move into it. It was called Signal Forms. Open this one up.
And so one kind of, go ahead.
Just kind of looking at the project here. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on and then maximize the screen. Okay.
Perfect.
Don't want that. Update later. Great.
If you can open the package JSON, I assume you get a lot of package JSON jokes.
You know, not as many as you might expect.
Yeah. So actually in the terminal, try ng version. I just want to make sure we're on 2103 because there's actually a bug with Signal Forms in 2104.
Installed version is 2103 on everything
CLI,
here. Yeah. Core. So you want me to just stick it to 2103?
Yes. Yeah, and you can do that in the package JSON, I guess, just by getting rid of the specific constraint there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick them all to 21.0.3.
Yep.
And then we will npm install all that. What do you
probably need to delete the package lock?
Okay, yeah. Remove the package lock. npm install. What are you mad about? Angular core. What am I missing?
Always fun live coding, right? That looks right to me.
I see what I did. Just gonna try that one more time. Let's npm install. What are you mad about? The peer 2103 says it wants 2103. I'm just gonna legacy peer depth it, I think, because
just force it or something.
Legacy peer depths.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be okay with whatever it is that I'm sure it was something simple, but that's not really what we're here to figure out today. So then if I go ng version, we're at 2103 across the board.
Perfect.
And just real quickly, do you want to say why we did that, just so everybody knows?
Yeah, we just yesterday we published 2104, and there's actually a Signal Forms bug. It is experimental after all. So we need to just make sure we're on 2103 so that we don't run into those things.
And by 2105, it won't matter anymore. So if you're watching this more than a few days in the future, everything's fine.
Possibly this afternoon, yeah.
So even a few hours from now.
Yeah.
So we're installed. We're at Angular 2103. If you are at 2105 or beyond, then carry on. Now I'm ready to rock. So what's the first thing we want to do here?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is we want to find let's actually start the dev server and make sure this application comes up. So we can just run ng-serve in the background.
ng-serve, got it. And share anonymous usage. Yes, you can have it. Okay. 4200. Copy that, take it over here.
Yeah, so that should be our basic application. Perfect.
Here we go. And this is the project name I picked. We didn't like install a specific Signal Forms library or anything. This is stock Angular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that just a little bit bigger so everybody can see what we're doing. Okay.
So let's go ahead and scaffold out the initial kind of page that we want to look at. So we should have a like app.ts here, and I think we have a app routes. Do we have any routes in this application? I'm actually not sure.
I don't know that we do have. I don't think we do.
Okay, we can just then probably delete the router outlet here.
Or here's app.routes.
Yeah,
is just
no routes. Okay, yeah. So we can go ahead and then in the app.ts just kind of remove the router outlet and clear out the app HTML, and that way we're starting from kind of fresh canvas here.
Okay, so I'm going to clear
out
all
that boilerplate logo, and yeah, I would just say empty this file.
Empty it entirely. You got it.
Start from scratch. Awesome. And so we can. This. Do we need?
Is there anything special about this, or do we? I don't know actually.
Yeah, this should be the component template. So this is just what's inside the body.
Oh, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. So this is exactly what we need. Then I am leaving this completely empty until you tell me what to do.
So let's just build out a basic like scaffold for a character sheet. So we probably want, let's do two things to start with. We'll have our character name and our like maybe a drop-down selector for class.
Okay. And do we want this to be like in a form or
like
a starting form? Okay. So we'll have our character name. We're going to do a select. And then inside of it, we're going to do an option, and we'll do like rogue. And those are the only two that I can remember off the top of my head. So we'll start there.
Perfect. So character name, we probably want an input element.
I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see, input type. Now I understand what we're doing. So input type text. And we're going to leave that
commonly
as is. I'm going to change these to a form.
Sure.
We want to label this.
Yeah, label.
And then let's make it accessible.
Yeah. Actually, we can save that for later because there's a way to do that
with
Signal Forms too.
Great. Then let me ignore this, and we're gonna start by doing it fast, and then we'll come back and do it right. So so the input type of text, the select, and we got errors because we're not like this isn't all being done properly. But let me just double check. So this is showing up the way we wanted it to, right? It's not correct yet. We need to fix some things. But this
maybe a label for class.
Okay, so we've got our character name, we've got our class, and then I'm going to I can just throw styles in like this, right? I don't have to do anything special. Okay, so what I'm going to do for just basic readability is I'm going to set our form to be display flex. I'm going to set it to have a flex direction column. I'm going to give it a gap of, we'll say 20 pixels. And what that'll do is just make it so that we can vertically read it. Let's go 10, so it's not quite so extreme. So that'll be fine. And then maybe what I'll also do just to make this a little easier to read is go max inline size of like 400 pixels. Now it's basically like a little form, right? So not pretty, but it's going to at least be legible.
Yeah, that works. So now let's go ahead and get this kind of wired up to the form system itself.
Okay.
So we'll go over to the app.ts.
Here.
Yeah, and I like to start by kind of defining, I usually start by writing types, and I find that to be the most effective way of like figuring out what I need to write next, basically. How do I get the type checker to be happy?
Okay. And is it just kind of a standard thing, or?
I would say let's create an interface for our character. And our character is going to have a name and class, and both of those are probably strings.
We could, we could make that an enum because it is a finite set of things that you can have as a class, but we're not going to find all those today.
Yeah, potentially. So now what we're going to do is create our form model. And our
Okay.
form model is a signal that's going to hold all of the current set of values of the form, the current value of the character, which is an object that has those properties in it.
Okay.
And so we can create that as a property inside of our app class here, kind of replacing title maybe with just read-only, character equals, yeah. And this is going to be an object.
Got it. And do I do that with one of these?
That works great. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'll have to satisfy TypeScript here with a name and a class. Both of those I would suggest starting as, empty string. So when you're creating the model for a signal forms is very model driven. So all of the validation and everything happens against kind of the state of the form in the signal, not against what's happening in the UI. So actually you can create a signal form, set values to it, write tests that are kind of asserting your validation and everything is working completely independently of any UI controls for that. So you almost don't even need to create, instantiate any HTML to check that your business logic is working correctly. So the second thing we're going to do here is then create the actual form around this model. So we can say like read only, and let's call it like maybe character form. And we're going to call the form function from Angular signal forms and pass in this dot character.
Okay. And did this auto imported from form/signals? Is that correct?
Import is great. Yeah, absolutely. So fantastic. So what this is going to do is take the model, your data model, which is a writable signal. So you can read it, you can set the signal to a new value, and you're giving forms permission to read and write from this model. And it's going to create a whole parallel world for you that's the same structure of this object, the character object, but that has the state of the form instead of the state of the values. So we can, if you just like open the, make a function in here called test or something.
Do you just do it like this in here?
Yeah.
I forget how classes work. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And then this dot character form, and if you explore in the autocomplete, you'll see that we have properties name and property class. Yeah. So you can look at class, for example. And that is what signal forms call a field tree. So essentially it's we're using a proxy to kind of give you an object that's the same shape of your model, but that has fields inside of it instead of raw values. And so if you call this function dot class, right? Remember Angular uses like function calls to signify like signal read. Right. Now what you get back if you dot that in autocomplete you'll see all the form states. So now we have dirty, disabled, invalid, valid, value, and a bunch of other things. And so this is signal forms deriving for you all the state of a form that might be useful to display in the UI, whether you should consider this control disabled, whether the control should be hidden, is it valid or invalid or pending, async validation or something like that.
Right. Okay, so I'm with it. This is cool.
Cool. So let's go ahead and inside our app HTML, let's start connecting those controls to the form itself.
Okay.
So on our input type equals text here, we have a directive that you put on this element. Directive is kind of an applied behavior to an HTML element from Angular. And the directive is called field. So we'll actually do it as a binding. So, Angular uses square brackets for bindings. So square bracket field. And depending on, I don't know if you have the language service set up, but it might auto import this thing for you.
Oh, actually, let's do that because I think that's going to be.
Yeah, Angular language service.
I just saw it there, and I do have it installed. Okay, great.
It's working. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so then for me to wait, what am I after? It was, I think it was trying to do something and I didn't let it. So let me just start over. I'm going to go field.
Yep.
And then
Equals.
did that field equals. And then do I call it just
character? This one is character form.name, right? Is the field that we want to bind to.
Okay. And it did autocomplete that for me, which is great.
Yeah.
Was it supposed to import anything in the component?
Let's look. So let's go look in the app HTML.
So nothing has happened here in the app TS.
It looks like it did for us. So it imported the field directive into the component.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay, I see what happened. So it's smart enough to know that I'm in this. This is one of the things about Angular that I'm still not used to is because things kind of happen in a couple places. I would expect my auto import to be here, but it needs to be in the .ts because right. I understand.
Yeah. So it actually, like, people have different preferences. I tend to write component templates inline, where they're all are actually in the same file. But I know there are people who swear by having the template as a separate thing.
Yeah, and there's a conversation happening in the comments about like you can move the template inside.
Yeah.
If you're like really comfortable with something like Astro or React, where all the logic and the templating would happen in the same file, then this could be a way to sort of make it feel comfortable compared to what you're used to. But this is fine, I think. So now that we've bound this, what does that mean? Like, what's happening here?
So let's actually show it on screen because I think that's easier. So after the form, you can add a pre-tag.
You want me to just stringify the character?
We're going to output some JSON. So two curly braces for Angular. And we can actually use the JSON pipe instead of JSON stringify.
Wait, how does that work?
So we would do, let's just do character, the signal, right? Function call. So we read the signal. And if you use the pipe character, vertical bar to JSON. To JSON or JSON? That's exactly right. And you'll just probably have to autocomplete import that.
See, you're not happy about something and you're not happy about it because to fix this, JSON pipe.
So it knows what you want to import, but it's not.
Knows what I want, but it didn't do it. Fine.
Yeah, we can do it manually. So
and that came out of which piece?
Angular common is going to be the JSON pipe.
Okay, maybe if I just put it here, it's going to let me.
Yeah, if you try to autocomplete that, it probably will.
Do the thing. What are you doing? There
you go. Yeah.
Okay. And then you're not sad anymore, except about my invalid forms. But what we should see then is down here, we've got our, everything is dumped. I'm just going to fix this formatting because that's going to drive me up a wall.
Yeah.
There we go. And now as I add something in here, it's up. Yeah. Okay. All right. So just by adding that field, we're getting an immediate reactive form.
Yeah. That's so now when we've connected that field to the model. So when we type in there, our model starts updating and stays in sync with the text box. And that's bidirectional, right? So if we were to go into the character and set the value programmatically to something, like you got a push notification from the server, or you had a button that was like randomly generate character name, the form would update, the input would update in reaction to that.
Got it. Very cool. Okay.
Cool. Let's go a little bit deeper and add some validation to this character name.
Okay.
So if we go back to our app, so the other thing we can do in character form here is pass a schema function to the form itself as the second argument. And the schema function is a function that takes one argument, which we'll call path here.
Does it need to be like a specific type of function, or is one of these fine?
Nope, this is just fine.
Okay.
And so what we can do inside of the schema function, this is an argument to create the form, right? And we're telling the form what logic we want it to have, what all of the business logic and validation and everything that gets defined on the fields. And what the form will do is when it instantiates for the model that you have, it will create a bunch of computed signals under the hood that's doing all of the validation with the right set of dependencies, so that when the user is typing in the character name, you're validating the character name and so forth. So it's kind of a DSL type structure. And one of the functions we can use here is called required. So if you type required and import that, you can say path.name.
Okay.
And path here is an object that's kind of letting us talk about a field before it exists. So we haven't created the form yet. We don't have the field yet for the character name, but we're saying, hey, at the field that's at this path, we want it to be required. And so now we can save that file. And let's list the errors in the HTML.
Okay.
And so in a real
that,
in a real form,
something I assume.
We'll leave that there.
Okay.
And kind of before that line, we can create a list of errors.
Okay.
So in a real form, you would probably want to put the errors for every field separately. But I think it's easier if we just do this for all the errors in the form at the bottom, so we can just see what's going on. So we want to use a for loop in Angular, which is the @for. Yeah.
Wait, I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
No angle. Is it double bracketed?
Nope.
Oh, you can just get away with this. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And @for is going to be, let's say, error of, in parentheses. Yeah. Error of character form. And we want to read a value called the error summary. ERR. Yeah. Oh, we have to, function call for character form.
Oh, right.
Read the signal. Yeah. Error. I do that a lot too. Error summary. That's also a signal. So we read that. And then like with
something that I'm doing and I don't know why.
It probably wants the brackets at the end of this. That is we're going to need a track expression in here too. So after error summary, function call, semicolon, and then semicolon.
Semicolon. God, what am I doing?
Yeah. And then track error, track space error. So this is like a key in React, right? When you're saying, hey, for this iteration that I'm doing for every item in the loop that we're creating, what's its identity, so we're not recreating the DOM nodes every time something changes.
I understand. So we're basically saying for this error that gets created, and then use the error that's being read as like the thing that makes it unique. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. And so
then
here,
I can do something like
error.message should be fine. Yeah. And then
is that right?
Error.message can be undefined, so we can do a like nullish or like unknown error or something in a string. Yeah, that looks good.
Let's see what it did. We got an unknown error.
Okay.
And it goes away. Great.
Yeah. So we probably want to give you something better as a user to look at than unknown error. So we can go back to our schema here. And as an option to required, we can pass an object with options as the second argument. And we can say message. And message is like, you have to provide a character name. Yeah, name is required.
Something like that. And now it says name is required.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. What if we want to make sure that it's like at least one character? Well, I guess it's already empty is throwing the error. So yeah, okay, that's fine.
We may want a max length, right? Like not let someone enter a 200 character name.
Sure.
So there is max length as a validator that you can import from Signal Forms. Kind of pattern here, right? Like pretty much all of the options that are available for an input element are validators that you can add.
Okay, and then just to
200 might even be generous, right? Like
I'm gonna make it 2 so that it throws the error right away, and then we'll say message is going to be maximum.
Character name is too long. Yeah.
Name length is 200 characters, and I know that's not actually true, but we're gonna get it to throw our error for us.
You probably won't.
Oh, it
because
forces it.
Signal Forms
Oh,
knows, right, that you've set a max length validator specifically. So in addition to validation, it's also telling the input element you should have the max length attribute.
that's
So
slick. Okay, that's amazing. So then, yeah, we can set it up. I mean, 200 is wild, but like, also, we don't want somebody who's got a legitimately long name to feel like they can't play the game. So,
cool.
really long names are in fact allowed, but you know, we don't want to blow out our database by somebody inserting the entirety of like now I'm trying to think of a long novel and I can't come up with a name. My joke is ruined.
Yeah.
Fine.
I watch a YouTuber named Let's Game It Out, and he like loves to break the logic in video games. And one of them was he discovered there was like you could name something and the name input was unvalidated, and so he entered this like entire treatise as the name of a train station or something, and it just renders off the screen. It's like hilarious.
I love it. Okay, so this is good though. So we've got this thing. It's going. We you have to have at least one character, which I think is fair, and you can't go more than 200, which I think is fair.
Yeah,
we're in business.
Yeah. So let's hook up our class there as well. And we probably want to include an option that is nothing selected, right? So the select element isn't showing you the first option as a false indication.
Gotcha. So, yeah, we can do that. So we're going to do option.
Yeah.
I think this is how you do it.
That looks right. Yeah. And we want to add values for the other two.
I get that. Oh, wait, we want this one to start selected. Yeah. And then you can't select it again. That's what we, and then we'll give each of these a value. And then I assume, do we want to pull these out of
that? Like, that looks fine to me.
Okay, so we haven't hooked this one up yet, and the way we're going to do that is same as before.
Same as before.
Ta-da!
Yep. Now our select is working, and we can
something. Why did it do that?
Is that the like auto refresh?
Well, now that it's hooked up, it's not showing that disabled field, and I wonder if that's like a. I guess it does. It's not the end of the world.
We might need to add value equals empty string to it.
Oh.
Signal Forms now.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Perfect. So let's add our validation, right? So that we know that like unselected class.
Path class.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have validation. We get our errors.
Yeah. Okay. And our form is valid, right? We have all the errors are gone. Perfect.
Slick.
So I think next step would be to add some agility or some scores, right?
Sure.
Strength, dexterity, like those. There's a set of them, 6 of them, but we can just have a couple.
And do we want these to be like grouped as like attributes as an object, or?
Sure, attributes, yeah.
So we got our attributes, and those are going to be, we'll say strength, and that's going to be a number.
Perfect.
I always forget. You know what? I'm going to do these.
I think is the
that's what it is. Dex.
Yeah.
Number and
let's go intelligence, right? Int.
Cool. So those are 3. That's fine. That's enough to prove the point. So we've got our attributes, and then our attributes themselves, I assume, are going to have like min max. We can't go below 0, and we can't go above. Is it like 20 is the max on a character?
Yeah. So
is there actually?
I think it is. I think it's 20 or 30. Yeah.
Do I want
min is
like
fine.
Min is correct?
Yeah.
Path attributes.
Perfect.
Can we set for multiples at once? Like, can we say for all of these set the min and max?
We can. We're going to,
yes.
Yeah. The way we're going to do that is to define a schema.
Okay.
So if you scroll up here, we can just even do this outside of the class itself.
Okay.
So I would say, const maybe attribute schema equals schema from signal forms. And this will take a generic parameter that's the type of the field that we're applying it to. In this case, it'll be a number.
The type of the field
the schema function itself is generic.
Got it.
So
something like that.
Something like that. So on schema, give it the angle brackets of number.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
Okay.
So number is now
the attribute.
Yep. And we can say min of attribute should be 0.
And max of attribute. Oops, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's not the one we want. We want the max from Angular signals, and that's going to be attribute, and we'll say 20.
Seems good.
Okay. How do I apply this?
There's a function called apply.
Perfect. So down here, then, I would say, is this right? Apply?
Yep.
Attribute schema. It's unhappy
apply to what?
Apply it to the path.
Yeah.
This
is fun for me because I'm trying to, I'm seeing if the APIs are intuitive for you.
Do I need to
want to apply it to a specific, this right now you're seeing a type error that you've given it a path to a character, and the schema works only on numbers. Path that attributes dot strength.
Do I have to do it for each? Oh, I can't say like all of the ones in here. It's got to be.
Yeah, you could write an object keys or something.
Sure. For this is loop, absolutely acceptable, I think. Yeah. So we've got so now each of these has a min max, and then when I come out here, we can do something like input type number.
Say range.
Think. Oh yeah, range. Let's do a range.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna hook it up to the field, and that field is going to be character form dot attributes dot strength to start.
There we go.
And then we'll label that. And that's going to be strength. And let's just duplicate this. Strength, dexterity. It's going to be our dex. And then we're going to have intelligence.
Someone in chat asks, what value will be rendered in the input if a long name is set in the character signal initially? So I think the HTML input will show you the full value, even if it's beyond the max length constraint. But in that case, you would get the validation error.
What have I done wrong? Argument. Oh, because we didn't update our
default. we need to actually create those values, initial values.
Okay, so that's unhappy because we need our attributes. Those need to be strength, we'll set to 0, dex set to 0, and int set to 0. And now we have each of our things. And the range actually knows what our max is, so we can't go beyond it, which is awesome. Now, if I go in and manually set this, like if I try to hack this, is it going to create an error?
I think it will create a validation error.
Let's try. Let's see if I can break it.
Yeah. Go for
it. There's no value even set on it.
You won't see an attribute in HTML for the value.
Oh, so it makes it also something interesting is this removes my ability as an amateur hacker to like mess with the form and try to change values to like, oh, I'm going to disable I'm going to turn off the disabled attribute so I can submit this form even though it says I can't. Or whatever it is.
You can always hack it from JavaScript, I think. So if you grab the reference to the input element, you can start telling it to do whatever you like. But
yeah, but it makes it harder. And then if we did set it to be like 21, we should get an error down here that says like it's out of range.
Yeah, and you have the same on the min
because we haven't declared it.
On min and max, you can write write a message too if you'd like. So yeah. So let's do someone wants to know something to link the labels to the fields for accessibility. Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
Um,
That was actually going to be my next question.
yeah.
Because then we'll get rid of our red angries, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know if your HTML validator here will understand the red angry.
We'll see. It says they need to have labels, and since we haven't connected them, but if Angular's handling this and it's not working, then we'll just turn off that validator for now.
Yeah. So you can bind the for attribute of label, right? Binding is that square bracket. That's what Angular calls a property binding.
And is it HTML4?
I think just for should work, but we can try HTML4 later if it doesn't. And this will be character form dot name function call.
Function call.
Yeah, we're jumping to the state, right? The form state with that function call, and then this is the downside of naming it name is actually there's a dot name here.
I
Signal
gotcha.
Forms is creating a name and automatically setting that as the name of the input. And so if you function call that here too, it's a signal. So we read it and that'll connect the two.
Duplicate this for the class.
Yeah, that looks right.
And then we'll duplicate this for, this will be interesting. So once we get into the attributes, is it a function call dot?
Nope, just dot str.
Okay. And then we'll grab this one out and we'll change this to Dex. We'll throw this one in and we'll say intelligence. Okay. Yeah. And now these are still unhappy, but what I'm going to do is we're going to disable the axe form hint so that it stops yelling, because we are in fact adding a label and we should be able to prove that here. Well, actually, we can prove that by clicking on it.
Theoretically.
Or wait, no, but none of these are clickable because they're not checkboxes. But if I look up here, we can see that the for is in fact showing up. This is super tiny. But you can see that the for is showing up for ng.form0.name, and this one is called ng.form0.name. And so what? I don't know what that is. Doesn't it need to be an ID as well down here?
Browsers will for the label for, they will go to either ID or name.
Okay.
But,
okay. Cool.
Yeah, there might be something strange internally here where this isn't working as well as it should.
But so we've got it bound, right? It's doing what we want. Happy about that. We've got, so our fields are bound. Our validation is working. What else do you want to look at here?
So how much time do we have left, actually?
We got about probably 25 tops.
Excellent. Okay. So I think first of all, let's do some interesting conditional validation, because I think that is actually rather useful. So let's say, for example, like if you are what were our two classes, rogue and wizard?
Rogue and wizard.
Let's say if you're a wizard, first of all, if you're a rogue, if you're a wizard, you have to have intelligence greater than 10, let's say.
Okay. And so yeah, we could do, if you're, because the way that this, if I remember correctly, when you're doing a character class, like when you choose your class, you kind of get like base stats, and then you get a few stats to apply yourself. So you would get like, you get five stat points to apply, but the wizard will have high intelligence and low strength, whereas like a barbarian class would have high strength and low intelligence. And then you could say like, well, I want to be a smart barbarian, so I'm also going to put all of my 5 points into intelligence, et cetera, et cetera.
So let's structure it this way, actually. Let's say you can have a maximum of 30 attribute points.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start writing some notes here. So oops, that wasn't what I meant to do. So we're gonna zoom back out one, and then I'm gonna say we'll just do a little comment here. So max of 30 attribute points.
Yeah.
And then wizard min 10 intelligence.
Yeah. And
then
maybe
like
rogue min 10 dexterity, min 12 dexterity or something like.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do we want to, anything else you want to put in? I think that's probably pretty good, right? Because then we've got a conditional plus we get to derive some state on like how many points are left.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Okay.
So let's do then the max of 30 attribute points, right? Because that's an interesting case where we aren't just looking at the value inside of one control to do validation. We want to validate against the whole set of attributes.
Okay. So to do that, I am in my validation here. And so
yeah, this will be a custom validator.
Max 30 attribute points total.
Yeah.
Custom validator.
Yeah. So we're going to call, as opposed to the like the built-ins like required and min and max and so forth. Validate.
Okay.
Right.
Path dot. Ooh, now we've got a multiple thingy.
Yeah. So we can probably validate the whole attributes object. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
And here we're going to pass in our validator function, which is just going to take a context parameter.
Context.
So you can call it, context.
Okay.
And if you look at context here, it will give us the value of the field, the state of the field, as well as some accessors to get values of other fields.
Okay.
So in this case, we can call the value signal on context. Context.value, and that will be the value of our attributes.
Okay, so now here, that's going to give us it's going to give us our object.
Yeah. Now we can write our logic.
3 inside of it. Okay. So then let's see, to do that, we would want kind of we could do a let 0, and then we could say for attribute of, can I do this off of memory? Let attribute of attributes. I should have done this better. Naming is hard. That's not going to work.
Yeah. Object.values would work here, or I think you can do let a in to get the keys. Either way.
Okay. So then we can say, so we've got our total count, and then we can say total plus equals attribute key.
Yeah.
And do I call it?
Nope, that's just a value.
That's just a value.
That's the value from your model object, right? TypeScript is unhappy with for in loops usually. You can say as key of the key inside. I think the magic incantation is as key of type of adder.
I love it. I love TypeScript magic spells.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what this will let us do is this is going to give us the total, and then I want to say like
if the total is greater than 30, right?
Is greater than 30.
Yeah, then we want to return an error object to you.
And the error object is, is it a class? Do we have to call a new one?
It's an object that has a kind property and potentially a message property. So kind will just be like a programmatic distinction of the error. It's a string. In this case, you can just say adder, attribute error, sure. And then a message is the human-friendly option.
Okay. Only 30 total attribute points allowed.
Yeah. And you should be working just
fine. And then do I just return nothing, or do I just ignore it otherwise?
Returning void is fine for the case where it's...
so then is this not all code pass return a value? Does that matter?
Return undefined, maybe, to satisfy the linter. I think TypeScript is fine with it, but
yeah, we're fine. Okay. So then out here, set this to
11,
10, 10. This is going to take us over.
Yeah,
there it is. Hey, look at that. Now, Can we? I know that we could like write custom code to do this, but is there some magic validator way to say like, hey, can you limit the total? Like, don't let me go over, or is it where that kind of gets into manual land?
That gets a little bit into manual land. What we could do is make the like min and max on these things, or really the max of the sliders, dynamic, right?
We could derive it from what's left after. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could derive it and tell you, but that creates some interesting UX challenges, I think. Because then as you're moving one slider, kind of all of the values of the other sliders are kind of adjusting dynamically. So very possible, but tricky to get that right from a UX standpoint.
There's a question about apply each. When we're in here, would apply each let us hit everything in the attributes?
If you put them in an array, it would.
Got it. Okay, but not in an object. Yeah. So my construction isn't letting us do the way that we would want that to work. But okay, so this is cool. So and I actually think this is completely acceptable because this is a very custom use case, and I would want very specific controls over like how and why this would work. Because the other thing that this would do if we derived the max is it would mean that like this looks full and we know this to be 20. So like our mental reference is 20. But if as we drag this up, this wouldn't move, it would just become a lower number, and that's bad. So we would need a better we need to think through that. That would be like a conscious design.
That's actually a really interesting problem to solve. So let's do that.
Okay.
Let's create our own control for entering these scores.
Okay.
So let's make a new component in a new file in here.
New component, new file. Going in here. And this is going to be like an attributes or something.
Attribute control, let's say. Or attribute
control.
Yeah.
.ts.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
And this we'll need a class with that component on it that's exported. We'll do as Inia suggests, we'll do an inline template.
That component from core. Maybe I can just copy some of this so that we don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we're going to call this attribute control.
Yeah.
We
shouldn't need any of that. We actually shouldn't really need anything in imports.
Okay.
So
like leave it empty or
selector. We'll give it a selector so we can use it from the other template. Attribute -control is fine. And let's do a template that's a backtick string. And this will be where we put our template logic.
Okay.
And so let's do this as well, first of all, we need our value, right? So we'll take this in as a Angular model signal.
Okay.
So in the class, you say value equals model and pass 0 as the initial value if nothing is provided. And so this creates both an input and an output. It's a two-way bindable property of this control that we can pass from the outside. And so in here, we want to do, in the template, we want to do two things. We want to show you the current value. So we can just do a text binding with value signal read.
Okay. And so we'll just do something like this.
Yeah, I was envisioning like a number with a plus/minus button on each side. Right?
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Control.
So we will, we'll make it real simple. We'll get in here and where there's going to be a plus/minus. So we can do like a button that has a minus.
Yep.
And we'll have the value itself, which I'm going to put into a span just so that we can target it if we need to. And that's going to be the value like so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we'll have another button with a plus.
Yep.
Come on, bud. There we go.
Yeah. And so I like to make a function called like increment or step or something, but that takes the delta as an argument. Delta is number. So we can type delta as number.
Got it.
Yeah. Make TypeScript
to please the TypeScript gods. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in here you would do this.value.update. and we pass a function that like gets the current value and returns the next one. So, you know, v maps to v plus delta. Value maps to, yeah.
V plus delta.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
so then we
would do the same for a decrement.
We can actually just use this as our, we can pass negative delta, right, to decrement.
Oh, so, sure. Yeah, fair. Okay.
Yeah. So I sometimes call it step just to like.
Yeah, the increment was going to bother me if we didn't do that. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. And so we can add our event listeners to the button here. So
okay, and is that like a click?
Yeah, Angular uses parentheses for events.
There it is.
Kind of our own little language here. And this is just going to be step of -1.
That's step -1.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this one is going to go down here and be step 1.
Step 1. Okay.
Okay.
So we can save this. And let's go back over to our app or actually really our HTML. Yeah.
Okay.
And one of these input type ranges we can do an attribute control for. Yeah.
Okay. And then to do this, let's see, we'll figure this out later. We're gonna start by just getting it on this.
And just put your field directive on there.
And it did. So I'm going to take my field directive right out of this one, and I'm going to drop it right here.
Yeah.
And that's going to fill the value for me.
Let's see if that worked. Yeah.
It sure did.
Yeah. So now we can actually violate our range conditions if we.
Yeah, we can. Let's do it.
Yeah. So if you go beyond the max, right, then
there it is. We get our unknown error.
It's like
there it is.
Now set the model beyond what even the range control can understand.
Right. Okay.
And notice these are linked, right? We have the same field talking to 2 different UI controls. So we probably want to make that min and max work.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we go into our attribute control there, now we can say, in addition to the value, we want to take an input that is min and an input that is max.
Okay. And that min is also a model?
Input, just plain input.
Input.
Model means we can produce a new value for the outside world to look at. Whereas min and max are just pure props, right? They're just data we want. And perfect. So
by default, this is going to fail.
Yeah. We need one more thing. Yeah, we need one more thing here, unfortunately.
Okay.
Which is min is input of generic type number or undefined. Yeah.
Same with max.
And that's because like a form doesn't have to give us a minimum value, right?
Mm-hmm. Do we want to require the max?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so we'll just kind of leave that as is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we can put a disabled binding on our buttons, right? To kind of turn them off and not let you go beyond the min or max.
And to do that, we say no.
Yeah,
disabled. Oh, buddy. Disabled. And that's going to be
if our
where is it? Value is less than min, or value is greater than max. Right?
We still want to let you decrement it, I think, if the value is greater than max, right? If you're above the max, you can still
true. I guess I guess that would be.
Yeah. And these are signals, so we have to function call them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Less than min.
Now what are you mad?
Min is potentially undefined, so you can use the question 0. And that might need parens. So.
There we go. Okay. So then we'll copy this.
I do think we want less than or equal to.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. If it's at the min, we don't want to let you go lower, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That looks right.
Okay, so now what we should see is this one is disabled. It's now re-enabled. If I keep going, the max has been
max
set.
out. Yeah.
Oh, and that's nice that it just worked too. Like I didn't have to change anything. Okay, so that's slick.
Yeah. Excellent. So now we can go back to our, let's go back to our schema.
Back to our schema.
App. Yeah. And just in the interest of time, let's go down to the, where we're applying the schema to strength. There. And instead of this apply, let's just do a, or actually, yeah, add a new line here for min.
What, like this?
New line for max, right? What we want to do is say, oh, you can't keep incrementing strength if you already have maximum of 30 points, right?
Okay, you're gonna have to walk me through that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So the add the max like as a separate thing here.
Yeah, we're going to apply a new maximum to strength, right? To say, hey, 20 is a max, and if you only have 3 more points that you can allocate, right, then we're not going to let you go beyond the limit there.
Okay.
So here we're going to pass our we can notice in addition to passing just a pure value for max, we can pass this thing called a logic function. And so we can pass a function that takes context. This is kind of the same thing as a validator, really, except we're computing the maximum dynamically. And so what we want to do here is, again, so you can actually copy paste that code, just that computes total, right, up to the line 81. And in this case, we need to get we're inside of the strength attribute, but we want the value of all of the attributes, not just strength.
Right.
So you can say context value of and path dots attributes. Yeah. So get the value of all the attributes, sum them up. So now we know our total. And we can compute kind of 30 minus the total, right, is how many remaining we have.
Okay. So we want remaining equals 30. This should be a variable minus total.
Total. Right. And now we don't want to let you add more than that many points to your current max. So we want to return the new maximum is your current value plus the remaining, I would say. Right. So if you have 3 more points remaining and your strength is 10, we don't want to let you go beyond 13.
Right. So so const new max equals remaining plus, and that's going to be context dot value.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you can just return that.
2 types, number and string or number. Are you mad because you think you are?
Context value should be a number here.
Remaining context dot value should be a number, and the reason you think you're not a number is what?
Oh, it might just be that we have to finish setting up this function. So just return new max. Now that's very strange. Object is
possibly null. Do we set these to be?
That is bizarre.
Can we just force it to
cast it? It's fine.
Oh, what? What are you
maybe
mad about?
Parentheses around the context dot value? Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Goof. So then, theoretically speaking, we take this up here and this up here. That's 16. And so we should see this cap out at 4, right? No, we shouldn't. We should see, got to take these up higher. Let's take these up to 14.
Oh, yeah. I just saw it.
And 14. And now these are too high. So the max is now 1.
Yeah. So our
And it won't
range
let me
has
go any
really
higher.
awkward UX for that, right? But now this
But this has
controls
great
actually,
UX.
yeah.
Cool. So this is great. And so the way that we would continue forward, we're short on time, so we probably won't do it here. But the way we would continue forward is we could kind of make this into a more generic thing that we then apply to all of these in the same way that we're applying the attribute schema. We could just kind of like write a new schema for it, maybe.
Yeah, I would probably make a computed for the like total number of attributes, right? And then create a schema that's just applying the validation, reading that computed to decide what the dynamic max should be.
Okay. Do you think we could do that in 4 minutes?
Probably. Well, let's try it.
Let's try it. And because we didn't get into computed, and I feel like that's worth doing.
So we'll be inside the class here.
Inside the class.
Yeah. So let's do maybe above the form. Let's say like, total attributes or something.
Okay. And is it read only or anything?
Sure. Read only total attributes equals computed.
Come on.
Computed. And this is a function. And we can copy paste the same logic.
Same logic from here?
Yeah.
Including?
No, just from the const adder equals down to the total.
Okay.
So line 72 to, we can just go to the like return total after that part.
Got it. Okay. And how do we get here? What are we missing?
So we're outside of the form entirely at this point. So we can just read model.attribute, this.character.attributes, character function call.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm definitely having to get used to.
Yeah. Signals. Attributes is just an object at this point.
Right. Because we didn't make that a signal. It's an object containing signals.
Character holds the whole, object.
Okay. So this lets us get our total attributes. And then
so
now we have access to this.
Yeah. Now we write in here read only attribute schema. So like,
I'm going to rename that to I don't know what the normal thing is for this, but do I pull it from up
number here? Sure.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to copy this. Schema of number, we get our attribute. And this one is going to be this logic down here, right? But we're going to take the...
so we can grab the, from... go ahead and paste that in. That's fine.
Okay, so I've pasted this in. Now we're definitely wrong here because what I want is
you need to be inside of a max function, right?
Do I need to be inside of it to get the total attributes, or like do I?
I think we missed a layer of the paste, right? Like the thing from schema is adder, the argument to schema function. Just call that attr.
Okay.
And then inside of max, we're applying the max to the attribute.
We're applying the max to the attribute.
And here's where we get our
context. That gets the context.
Yeah. So now that stuff is the body of the max computation.
Okay. And so then I need to get rid of you. This is going to have to get a different name.
All of that actually goes away. 67 to 72.
All of this goes away.
Yeah, that's our computed now. So instead of total, we can just do this dot total attributes or whatever it was called.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did I get this right? I'm missing you.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
It's great. We still want to have 20 as the like upper limit of max, right?
Yes.
So we can do that in one of two ways. Either line 71, we can do a math dot, that of 20.
Or I guess we would want a math.min of 20 or
yes.
That. Okay.
I think it is max, right? Because you want.
Well, because wouldn't it, when we get like there's only 4 left, then it would always give us 20 if it was the max.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 20 is the minimum max. That's confusing. Okay.
The minimum maximum.
Now we can go down and change our attribute schema apply to this dot attribute schema.
Okay.
And we don't need that big long independent max function anymore.
Drop you out of here. Oops.
And do the others.
Oh, come on, bud. Do one of these. And then we do one of these. And then theoretically speaking, we should be in business here.
Yep. All the maxes are kind of being dynamic now. The ranges are going to behave very weirdly in this scenario.
Ranges are super weird. But then if we, let's see, we're out of time. But what we would be able to do then is swap all these out for attribute controls instead of these ranges, which would then give us each of the things, but we don't have time to label them and all that stuff. But you can kind of see where we're going here, where we've now got all these controls. And as we control one, it messes with the maxes for the others. So this is pretty powerful stuff. And honestly, you know, the hardest part was for me just remembering the specifics of like the syntax, like that it's square brackets versus parentheses versus, you know, calling it or not calling it. So really, really powerful, really, you know, and now reading through it, this is all pretty, you know, human readable. So really excellent work from y'all. If somebody wants to learn more about this, I've got this Angular Forms page. Where is there anywhere else that people should go? Anything else they should be looking into?
What I'll do today actually is I have a little stack blitz of like an example character form that I was putting together. I can share that, tweet it out for people to kind of look at and play with.
So head over to X and the Everything app and follow Alex there, and you can find that example when it comes out. Alex, other than Twitter, anywhere else that you want people to go to follow you?
I am on Blue Sky as well, under the same label. And I'm active on the Angular community Discord server if people have Angular questions and want to kind of chat about things there.
There you are. Get one of these. We'll throw one of these. All right. So that is where we are. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time. And if anybody wants to go deeper on the how and why of this, remember we do have the Web Dev podcast where Alex talked about all of the reasoning behind why Angular landed on Signal Forms as their preferred approach. This is going to be our last episode of 2025. So thank you all for being here. We will be back in 2026 with more episodes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share because it honestly just makes me feel nice. So thank you. Thank you, Alex, for being part of this. Any parting words for everybody before we wrap it up?
Thank you so much for having me. This was fantastic. Yeah, please check out Signal Forms if you're an Angular user and want to play with it. We're really desperately looking for feedback because we want to get this out as a stable API as soon as possible. We know people really want it. We know a lot of developers are already using it in production. They're making that choice to accept that risk. So great. And yeah, every bit of feedback helps.
Thank you all so much for being here. Join us next time for more